three gentlemen, I'm being polite when I say that, three Israeli gentlemen bought the cinema circuit. And everyone from the managing director down to anyone above management was made redundant. We were all out. I was 57, I had only 3 years to go before retirement. We were all out, finished. I must admit, I gave a big party at my house for all the managers, and they came from all over the country. And we had a fantastic party. But I was sad, very unhappy. But then, before they take all the office furniture away and take my car away, the area manager for Lions Maid, the ice cream people, who we used to deal with, rang me up and he says, Joyce, would you be interested in a manager's job? I said, that's all I ever wanted. He said, the manager at the Tower Cinema is retiring after 30 years and they want a manager. So I was hot foot round to see the owner, Mr. Yo. You have to be very careful with that name because I used to say, is Mr. Yorin? And I got the job. The manager of the Tower Cinema, and it was only 100 yards further up from the Paramount where it all started. And I was manager there until I retired. And I'll just tell you 2 publicity stunts that I did there. I rang up the editor of the Yorkshire Evening Post, who I knew, and I said, I've thought of you've got a children's section and what have you. He says, yes. So I says, how about advertising a princess for the day? And he says, well, what do we want for that? I said, anybody who knows a little girl who deserves to be a princess for the day. You know, you hear of kids looking after their mothers with multiple sclerosis and helping them. And in those days, they didn't help, I mean, not that they help an awful lot now, they did no help whatsoever. So kids used to look after the mothers, go to school, come back and make the dinner and all the rest of it. So he said, yeah, I'll put an advert in the press. And he was going to get all the replies. Well, a week later he rang me up, he said, Joyce, I've got 47 replies, and he said, if you think I'm picking one out of these, I'm not. He said, we've all been in buckets of tears. So they sent them up to me, and then we were crying. All these poor kids, how did you pick the winner? So, anyway, I did. The girl that had looked after her mum since she was 3 years of age, she was now 11. And every morning she got up, dressed her mum, gave her breakfast, went to school, came home for lunch, and that was a pattern of her life. And it was 2 neighbours who recommended her. So I picked her. So now I have to make her a princess for the day, haven't I? So I go to the wedding shop and tell them the story. Will you give me a dress for a princess? Yes. Then I went to Clark's shoe shop. Will you give me some shoes? Then I went to the cafe. Will you give her lunch? Then I went to the City Varieties. Now this was nearly at Christmas, and they always have a pantomime there at Christmas. And Ken Dodd was on. So I said, would you give me a box for an afternoon for my princess? Oh yes, certainly. I said, what about the other 46? So he said, I'm not giving her 46. But he said, I will let them in on a matinee at half price. So I went to see my manager, Mr. Euro, and he paid the other half. So the day after she was princess, I took a little crocodile of 46 down to see Ken Dodd. So, but I haven't finished with the princess yet, so then I went to Lewis's. Will you do a hair and nails? Then I went to the City Varieties. Where else did I had to get a car. So I rang up this taxi firm who had a vintage Rolls Royce. And I wanted everything for nothing, but I did promise everyone that they would get pressed. And they all did. Every one of them got pressed. So I went to them all. And then came the day we were showing Annie. We put a red carpet down for her. But in the morning, she got up, came down, went and had her hair done and her nails at Lewis's, went for a lunch at the cafe, then she went in a box at the City Varieties and watched Ken Dodd, then she went home and got dressed in all her finery. I'd even got her a mink stole to wear. Then she was picked up by the vintage car. Now, unfortunately at night, there were always cars parked in front of the cinema. So I rang up the police. I said, is it possible to have bollards so that nobody parks in front? He says, oh no, we only do that for royalty. I said, well, I've got a princess coming. So, yes, she came, and our photograph was taken. She had a wonderful, lovely day. And that week, it was all in the Yorkshire Evening Post, and as it happened, she was a very, very pretty girl. And so that was another thing. And this went on actually till I retired. And then I come to what I said to you earlier. What did the medium say? He said 3 things to me. The first one was, in your late 50s, you might have a business problem. And I was made redundant from Classic Cinemas. He says, in your early 60s, you'll have a personal problem. And I lost my husband. But he said, you're going to live a long life. But he said, it's weird because he said, you'll still be involved in cinemas in some way. And here I am at 90, talking about classic cinemas. And that's my story. Please look at these books because it tells you all the story. Like I said, I started giving this talk. I retired down to Lincolnshire and I joined a little group like this, and the next speaker cancelled, and out of the blue I just said, would you like me to talk to you? I thought, what are you saying, Joyce? And they said, well, yeah, well, why? I said, well, I worked in the cinemas, and they said, oh, you were an usherette? I said, no, not really. So I went back, and in this big box there were all these, remember, the 50 years old, these courses, they were all dropping to pieces. But my eldest son is a graphic artist, and he has managed to laminate them and put them all in for you so that you can read all about them. So please help yourself to the books and read all about my life.
Well done.